Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelorette Recap, a guy's review. This is the finale recap of Katie Thurston's season. What a long way we have come in 2021. Can you believe this? Oh my gosh. Now listen. All I gotta say is let's dive right into what happened. As you guys know, I take notes, I read them back to you, no edits, none of that, no fancy graphics, just me, you, and whatever other tasks you're putting off, but you're watching this channel instead. I appreciate it. Do me a favor if you haven't already, like the video, you can do that, it's free, and subscribe, also free, inching our way to 40,000 subscribers. We might get there by the end of the week at this rate. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. All right, let's get right into it, my irreverent commentary. Caitlin and Tayshia open up the show with their 10th year, more like 15th year, high school energy, reunion energy, right? They got the outfits on. They're ready to show off their engaged energy right here. The episode is sponsored by United Dairy Farmers, since the producers will milk the episode for 3 full hours, of course. Quick replay of Michael and Greg self-eliminating. So we really get to see, when you put it all together, that Katie did suffer some trauma here with Michael leaving and then Greg leaving. I mean, both were brutal for 2 different reasons. Katie tells Caitlin in the live portion that she thinks it was her fault Greg left, blamed herself. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This wasn't the live version. You know, we cut back and forth between the live part and the pre-tape. It's kind of complicated. But Katie tells Caitlin that she thinks Greg leaving was her fault. Who are you? Do I even know Greg? Like, these are the questions she's asking herself. Justin says, and this is what's great, Justin, he goes, it's pointless for me to speculate because I have no clue. Oh, boy. Greg says, you mean we could have just not stressed out about the unknown? You know? Anxiety is fear of the unknown. It's fear of something that hasn't happened yet. And that's what happens. You ruminate, you're alone, you expose yourself to love, and then it makes you do some crazy things. It doesn't make it right, but as you guys know from my conversation with Dr. Diane and others, Psychology in Seattle, you get to see that Greg really was his own worst enemy here. Justin said, okay, so Justin, and maybe even Blake, able to sort of like not overthink things that are out of their control. That's kind of what you do with age. I think sometimes is you learn to just let things go that you can't control. Tayshia and Caitlin show up to the conversation with Blake and Justin, and then Blake says, every time we see you guys, it's always something. And it's like, that's how it goes. It's kind of like how back in the Chris Harrison days, God forbid I mention, can I still mention his name? He would show up and everyone would be like, oh boy. Because it means like, oh, so-and-so is stuck in a limo, they're crying, they're not coming out, no cocktail ceremony, whatever the case might be. So he goes, every time we see you, it's something. Caitlin tells the guys Greg has left, and Justin goes, what? He had that Tim the Toolman Taylor, like, no way. So Blake gets his first overnight date, and this is early in the episode. We're like, oh boy, things are progressing quick. Blake has his first overnight date. They do a water balloon fight. That's fun. But then you know what? Cue the portable hot tub. They've just been waiting with the hot tub. The hot tub is just under a tarp somewhere, ready to go. They're just like, they pull it out. It's covered in mold and regret, like a normal hot tub's supposed to. If your hot tub's a little dirty, just crank the heat up on it and throw a little Clorox in there. It'll burn off any disease. Katie tells Blake about her other strong relationships. Blake listens. What's that? He listens. Isn't that nice? She literally vents to Blake, even though he's one of the guys she's kind of like worried about. It's like a test. And I don't think Katie's doing this on purpose, but these are little tests for a relationship's strength, right? Testing the support beams on the relationship. Blake listens. Katie said a part of her wanted to quit. Blake says that's a lot. He laughs, he smiles, and he kisses her. He doesn't go, that's a lot. You're going to quit over him? And listen, I'm not making light of Greg's scenario. It sucks to be the front runner. You're almost better off being in Blake's position. Blake says, I don't play games with love. I would never tell you I'm falling in love with you and get up and leave. Boom, shakalaka. Let me tell you something. Blake is full of love and conviction. Blake shares the moment he knew he loved Katie. This is where it gets fun. The moment he knew he loved Katie. He said he knew he loved, and everyone's got that moment where you go like, that's when I knew you were the real deal. When This is funny to me. Blake says he knew the moment he loved Katie when she scored a hockey goal and backpedaled and yelled, "Go America." And let me tell you something. Katie Thurston, the pride of Renton, Washington, goes in there against a couple Canadians, high sticks them, scores a goal. USA, USA. Let me tell you something. Blake says, I effing love you so much. That was his way of saying I love you. He says, I haven't done this in a while. He does all the things. Like, I'm not trying to just throw this out willy-nilly. He goes, I effing love you so much. And then Katie responds with, I effing love you so much. It was like that, the old, do you remember their old Rachel Dratch, Jimmy Fallon? I think that's who it was on SNL. They were like, I love you. There were two Bostonians. I love you so much, kid. No, I do. No, ma. They were just like make out. That's what it was. Blake and Katie, I effing love you so much. I didn't cry. Did you? Did you guys? I didn't cry. It was dusty. Yeah, I was cutting onions, so some tears ran down my face, but I didn't cry. I cried a little bit. Both eyes just gushing. I had to squeegee my shirt, just salty tears. I was so happy for them. The one time a year, or I guess twice a year, or in this case, 3 times a year, that we say forego is when we mention the fantasy suites. We don't say forego for any other reason. Time to forego those formal outfits and go for the gold. It's fantasy suite time. Forgo your morals, forgo those boundaries and those walls you have put up, and go for the goals. Blake threw the hand on the neck, consensually speaking, with plenty of consent. Blake and Katie were handsy. I was like, do they not know the cameras are still in here? You know, they're doing a little bit of this light play, a little light pushing and pulling. It's like, whoa, he's treating her like she's a marionette, and she is dancing, let me tell you. The morning after, you know, they just cut away and they come back to the morning after, and you just have that look that, you know, like a lot of blood flowed through these body parts today. That's what it is. A lot of, we vacillated some capillaries, if you know what I'm talking about. I don't write any of this down. What does that mean, vacillated some capillaries? Blake will tell you what it means. The morning after, they look good in bed. Not to be creepy, that's a good-looking morning after couple. You know, some people the next morning go, eesh, you know, you smudged makeup and, you know, the lip liner's all over, you know, then Kate, you know, that's just Blake. But does he wear eyeliner? He's got nice dark, what is it called? Follicles. Oh, those follicles are looking pretty nice over there, Blake. Happy birthday, by the way, to Blake Moynes. It's his birthday today, or you're watching this the morning after. The morning after, so they look good in bed. It's a good-looking couple. They get the I love yous out of the way. Now that the cat is out of the bag, no offense, Connor. So, meow, you know, so you know how it is. They hold off saying I love you, and then all of a sudden, once they start saying it, they can't stop saying it. It's really obnoxious if you're going through a breakup to hear other people say I love you, but, you know, for the most part, we're happy for them. You know what I mean? It's like, it's nice. It's like, I love you. They get to they forget how it is. It's like when you're a kid and you learn a swear word you're not supposed to say, and you just keep on saying that swear word over and over. That's the I love you. Caitlin Bristow does the couch talk with Katie. They sit down, and this is something that, as much as Chris Harrison was good for his own way, this is fun, right? You get Caitlin Bristow being able to be like, how was it? You know, she's being a host, but being a girlfriend. She goes, tell me about it. Katie says, I was plenty satisfied. Multiple times. And then Caitlin yells like she just got proposed to. The old Canadian high sticking. All right, so if you're watching me for the first time, I do apologize. You are like, what is this? He just has buttons he presses. For the most part, so does Blake. Okay, that's what got him in this mess. Clean up, aisle 5. Excuse me. Katie says the fantasy suite date was her best day of her life. Attaboy, Blakey. Caitlin tells Katie, Justin is still here. She's like, wait, what? Justin's, I thought, Blake, I thought as soon as I, have multiple experiences vacillating my capillaries, you guys were going to get Justin out of here. So my guess, just watching this before, my guess is that Justin's getting dumped right away. That's the guess. I think we knew this all along. He's going to get dumped right away. It's the most humane thing to do. Super respectful. Put him out to the pasture, right? Katie tells Justin she's falling in love with Blake. She just tells him, she's like, look, I got the clarity I needed. And he's like, I can see the clarity. Did you even shower? You got a little clarity in your hairline there. Just like, you just got like a fake eyelash falling out. She's like, I got some clarity last night. You sure did. All right, you sure did. Penalty box. Justin said, none of these words mean anything. Justin says he thinks the world of her, how special she is, etc. A wild, respectable breakup. I mean, this is the best you could ask for, is Justin felt his pain. And it's almost like sometimes when you see someone's restraint, like with Justin, like he's not wearing his emotions on his sleeve. He's not bawling, crying, but you can feel that restraint. You can feel that kind of like guy who goes, I really put myself out there. I really went out of my comfort zone and I'm heartbroken. But just because you're heartbroken doesn't mean you flip a switch and then all of a sudden hate that person. Now, that could be the case in some breakups, but with him, it's like, look, I'm heartbroken, but I still believe you're that great person. It just wasn't me. It never was Justin. The question is, will Justin have a running to be the next Bachelor after finally seeing him in the finale, how he dealt with this? Is he in the running? Leave a comment. Let me know. He said, Justin, I just messed this up. Sorry about that. I just accidentally hit something here, so let me readjust here. We do it on the fly, folks. So Justin said, I just lost it. Oh my gosh, sorry. Justin said he thinks the world of her, how special she is, etc. Yeah, I mean, you can't ask for anything more. As hard as it is for Katie and Justin to go through this, it's a lot easier knowing you're not dealing with like someone's childish behaviors. They're taking it as a mature adult, and hopefully he doesn't use this. Hopefully this experience doesn't make Justin, not want to reach out in the future for love. Hopefully he can see that it was right there and it just wasn't his gal. So we cut to Justin at the live interview. They cut right into it. No clapping, just boom. All of a sudden, there's Justin. He says it hurts just as much now as it did then. You know, it's only like a month ago. Caitlin asked if Justin feels like Katie gave him a fair shot. He says no. Katie arrives looking great. A dazzling white sequin detail high neck mini dress. More on these style takes on Tasha's Take. My fiance has a fashion channel. If you haven't watched it, even if you don't like fashion or care too much about it, it's still fascinating stuff hearing about other people's, what makes you look good. Anyway. So you can go check out Tasha's Take over there to see all that she has to say about the finale. So Justin says he felt like he was there on default. He says his parents see a clear positive difference in his emotional state since being on the show. Lots of respect for each other, which is really good to see. A beautiful montage of Justin's facial expressions, which is so good because Justin didn't go viral until after he filmed. So the whole time he's doing all these weird things and no one's even, it's not like memeable until afterwards. And then he finds out how expressive he actually is. And I think Justin could be a great Bachelor, although I don't know if he got enough airtime. Blake meets Katie's family. He gives her mom a huge hug. That's how you do it, Blake, a huge hug. Katie's aunt gives Blake a handshake, a very political, I'm going to do this. Wow. And I hope people don't go too hard on Katie's aunt here. Good for her. The aunt said the aunt they don't realize the logistics of their situation. What made you want to go on this season after flunking last one? I mean, she starts off with haymakers. He's coming in all right, we'll do a softball interview. I love her, she loves me. Kumbaya. Some Barney stuff. I love you, you love me. Best of friends will always be when they're great. Anyway, the aunt's the aunt's like, you haven't planned the logistics? And he's like, logistics? I haven't. We didn't get to logistics. We're on day 16. We don't do logistics till day 22. The aunt is fierce. You mean nothing. You are here because we want you here, not because we need you here. You better be secure in that. Now, I like the message, but the messenger is a little, rough. But Blake can handle that. He's like, all right, I'll win you over. I'd be the same way. I'd be like, we're going to be best friends. I like it. I'm a little wounded by you right now. You don't need me. I understand. I'm going to become your best friend, and I'm going to make it my life's mission to become best friends with the aunt. Okay, but it's good advice. It is good advice. We don't need you. Relationships, the dessert, not the main course. But, obviously, the vehicle in which she communicated that was cutting. Katie's mom with great advice. We don't put ourselves in a position where we don't have to rely on a male. We don't put ourselves in a position where we have to rely on a male. That's great. I'd love to know more about their backstory, about why they all feel that way, if there was a specific thing that happened, or if that's just how the Thurstons roll. Because either way, I love it. And to all the feminists in Bachelorette and everything, they should really be looking at this as these women are strong-minded. They don't need no man. If he wants to be a part of the party, he needs to bring a dish. You know what I mean? Katie's mom had the great advice. Blake says, nothing I was saying is the right answer. Welcome to the club, Blake. You ever been in one of those fights where you're like, I gave you all the answers. I covered everything and none of it was right. It's like, that's called a pop quiz and you are flunking. Blake's chat. Well, the real flunking is if you lose your cool, and he didn't, so he actually passed. She threw the kitchen sink at him. Blake's chat with Katie's mom goes way better. He makes her cry happy tears. I wanted him to hug her, but they were filming. They were in their spots. The final nighttime date before proposal, Felicia. Goodbye, Felicia. Hello, Felicia. The energy healer shows up for the burning of the Zohan. The Zohan, whatever it was. They share. Someone's going to correct me. You know, sometimes I make mistakes just because you guys will correct me and it's good for the algorithm. Anyway, they burn the Zohan. They share their fears, not being good enough, not being worthy, fear of losing Blake. They burn those demons, baby. It was a ton of fun. You could tell they were frozen. Blake's got his fingers in her pockets. All right, cut to the next day. Neal Lane. Beam him up, Scotty. Time for Neal Lane. Unfreeze him from the chamber. Tasha presents the rings. Is Neal Lane canceled too? Why wasn't Neal Lane there? Maybe it's because he was supposed to be there a week later. Her filming ended a week early. I'm not too sure, but you'd think they could have gotten Neal Lane in. You know, fly him in. Come on, we need to see you old leathery football. I mean, that's a term of endearment where I come from. You old pigskin. He actually looks pretty good, doesn't he? He looks pretty good. Is it weird that Blake's picking out rings with his ex, Tasha? You know, it's like, didn't you guys, play tonsil hockey yourself? Tasha says to Blake, if you're still struggling with what to do, you need to let her go. This is 1,000% fabricated drama. They had to fabricate some drama because clearly they laid it all out there. No one else is left. Like, this show is normally two guys propose, one gets heartbroken on the altar. That ain't going to happen. How are we going to keep people watching? Fabrication, folks. Made in America right there. We fabricate our drama. 100% polyester. Epic proposal stage scenery. Katie says, wasn't it nice? There's a river. It's looking pretty good. Katie says, love shows up when it wants. Exactly when it is meant to show up. Katie didn't know if Blake was going to propose, which, he did. Well, he does. We already watched it. Spoiler. Blake's response, excuse me. I knew the moment I first met you when you called me trouble. Oh, if a lady calls you trouble, she's either going to get a restraining order or she's going to marry you, and there ain't no in between. He said, I can't give you what you came here for. And then there was a pregnant pause. Because you deserve the world. You could tell the producers really had him stick that. They probably rehearse this. They go, I can't give you all you come here for. Then they show the camera angles. They'll go back and forth. They'll stretch it out even longer. And then, because you deserve the world. And at that moment, she's like, oh yeah, the maple syrup was flowing. Sticky. She said, yes, baby. I said yes. I just wish the guy said yeah. I would love to be proposed to just so I could yell, I said yes. And everyone claps and cheers. She said, yes, honey bear, ready to get his honey. Reach into that honeycomb, folks. It's a metaphor. Caitlin and Tasha show up, champagne and congrats. Wouldn't it be nice to have Caitlin and Tasha showing up to all the engagements from now on, just like great hype women? Wouldn't that be fun? Unfinished business. Greg Rippo enters the room. Oh, boy. Buzzkill. Greg says he has never opened up to anyone like that in his life. Well, that's on you, Greg. That's not her fault. He goes, I'm grateful for her. She showed me another side and brought happiness I didn't know was missing. Then Katie enters. Katie, come on in. And she walks in. Now, I'm more of a metaphorically. She didn't look like this. She looked gorgeous. Loved the outfit. And I loved her response. But she walks in like WWF, like The Undertaker walks in with just like a stool just ready to throw it at somebody. Just got a stool there. You know what I mean? Just breaks a, She doesn't acknowledge him. She just goes right to his seat. He's like, okay, whoa, okay there. You know what I mean? Yikes. The crowd gasps. Oh, I'd love the audio of the crowd gasping. They're all like, adios mios. Because Katie was like, ooh, cold. They're like, turn the AC up. It's freezing in here. I say, that's just Katie. She calls him out, says he was never ready for an engagement. She says he spoke, which is probably true, but most people on the show aren't. So she says he spoke down to her when she needed him the most. He ran away. Ladies in the back all shaking their heads. You're watching Katie. Katie's going off on him, and the ladies in the back are like, oh yeah, girl, you get it. I'm like, yeah, lady power, go for it. Everyone's an aunt Thurston. Aunt Lindsay, was that her name? All right, so you used me to get the acting experience at my expense, is what she said. And then people are like, yo. And then Greg laughs. He goes, I'm no Meryl Streep. And it's like, we know. We know, Greg. You know Meryl Streep. Which is a good line, too. It's like, I'm no Meryl Streep. It's like, yeah, we get it. You're on a reality show. I still, without any sort of insider info, I still think you don't go on the show to become an actor. I don't think that's what he did. I'm sure they talked about his acting career either off camera or it doesn't make the cut because the show's not trying to share that stuff because it takes away the fourth wall to be like, oh yeah, he works in entertainment. It's like, yeah, no crap he does. Just like every stylist on the show is actually a singer. It's like where everyone, Connor is like a teacher. Yeah, he's a teacher, but it's to float by until he can get his music career going. It's like they're entertainers. That's why they're on the show, exposure. And that's not always a bad thing. Katie tells Greg, if you think that's love, you don't know what love is. Katie rips Greg apart. It's Shark Week out there. Blood in the water. Is that how you talk to your future wife? You know, it got rough. I mean, you guys watched it. Greg says, I wish I could go back and change how I communicated my feelings. Katie says, he had the nerve to look down on me and say I deserve more. I don't need that. Greg says, I emptied my heart out to you and all I got was a pat on the back. Greg continues, if it was me, you would have stopped me. So he was saying, look, I wasn't telling you to say you loved me, but if you did, you would have stopped me. And maybe that would have been true. Maybe, look, multiple things can be true. Maybe Greg was right in the fact that maybe Blake and Katie had the final, but Greg was the front runner for a long time. Excuse me. Sorry, dying. It's the vaccine. I'm kidding. Get your doses. 2 shots. Third one for good luck. Hit the like button. If you're unvaccinated, hit the like button. That will keep you vaccinated. That's not true, but please subscribe. Greg and Katie shared the I wish you nothing but the best at the end. Wow. They said that with like literally just like grinning. Like, I wish you nothing but the best. I want to throw you off a dock, with dumbbells tied to your legs. You know what I mean? I watch too many mob movies. Greg and Katie, so they do that. Blake and Katie are introduced. So I don't know. What do you think of Greg and Katie? I mean, leave a comment. At this point, it's one of those like I feel like we're all gonna watch the show through whatever spectrum we have. I don't think Katie's going to win anyone over, but I don't think she's going to lose anyone. Same thing. I don't think Greg's going to win anyone over. I don't think he's going to lose anyone. I think what we saw is what we got. I will say this. When you're going through a breakup on TV, it's got to be tough because you're allowed to feel angry. You're allowed to feel like you got the raw deal. Like Katie's not fabricating her emotions. So, the Meryl Streep, you got to love me at my worst before you love me at my best. It's like, yeah, that's Katie Thurston. She's going to wear it on her sleeve. Or sleeveless, whatever. She's going to wear it, right? So she felt like she got the raw deal from Greg. She felt like he quit on her, and she let him know in front of everyone on national TV. If anything, Greg might get some sympathy because of the way he kind of just like took it. It would have been way better for Greg if he just didn't try to make excuses and didn't try to explain it. And he was just like, and if he did the Demi Burnett move where I'm an idiot, I made the worst decisions. I'm sorry. It would have just been better if he did that versus trying to explain himself. I feel like the humility would have gone farther. Well, let me know what you guys think. So Blake and Katie are introduced together for the first time. Katie appreciates how much Blake believed in her and fought for her to get on the show. The stereo above the heads from all the guys in the crowd. That was a good moment. That was cheesy, but it was a good moment. Clearly they had a sound issue at first. The bloopers, they do the horse ride. Tayshia and Caitlyn stick the landing hard. This is why Chris Harrison hired Brian Friedman, power attorney, because they knew that Caitlyn and Tayshia were going to nail this, and then Chris Harrison has less leverage to get his job back, which he didn't. But the point is that Tayshia and Caitlyn really nailed the ending here. And they not only nailed it, they nailed it in a way where they led up to Michelle Young's season walking away. Let me know what you thought about Tayshia and Caitlyn on the ending here. I thought it was rock solid. I thought it really added a little bit of a different vibe. Look, I'm not here to say how Chris Harrison would have done it. He's a cog in the bigger machine. But as far as people that could replace Chris Harrison, they did a knock-up job. They did a knock-up job with it. I'd love to know what you guys think. Leave a comment. We're going to have so much content coming your way, so make sure you're subscribed. Join my Instagram at DNeals for all other updates, live stream updates, this and that. We're going to have a live stream Thursday at 4 p.m., plus a ton of other content, 4 or 5 videos a day, just covering everything that's out there. We have breakups. We have makeups. We're all going to have these contestants doing the podcast circuit. So plenty. This is where the season starts, folks. And then, of course, next week we start Bachelor in Paradise, which I'll have full coverage there. Thank you guys so much for sticking around, for being with me, for believing in the channel, for supporting us in all the different ways. I appreciate y'all so much. To everyone who joined the Patreon, thank you so much. We'll have extra content there. I'm going to do an extra recap over there where I really tell you guys how I feel. I'm pretty honest here, but I'm going to get into some of the nitty gritty and the behind the scenes over there. That'll be up in a couple days. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. Go check that out. All right, folks, thanks again for a great season. We'll see you out there. Bye, everybody.